Bubbles. Bubbles. But wait, not this one. We have this sorcery called Claymen Sorcery. So Clayman itself is an enemy that looks like a walking rock. I almost never killed them on my entire playthrough so far, if I'm being honest. Almost though. Some of them can use spells by blowing bubbles, so I decided to use their bubbles to beat the game. To help me organize this run, I made some rules. So the first one, I can only use Claymen Sorcery, which are the oracular bubbles and the great oracular bubble. Yeah, if you didn't know, there are only 2 Claymen Sorceries in the game, and I have to use both of them. Second one, I know the envoy's weapons are popular, and that's why I'm not allowed to use them at all. Third one, no supporting spells, but I'm allowed to use physics, as usual. And the last one, Staff Bong and Bare Fist are allowed. I barely use any sorceries in Elden Ring, and this is probably my first time ever to do the magic only run. Just so you know, this is not the worst spells in the game, but they are also far from good as well. So yeah, before we start, if you're into content like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Alright, let's see how everything goes. I don't know why they scale with arcane, but they should work quite well even if I just focus on intelligence. So picking my starting class, I choose astrologer since he has the highest intelligence stats. For arcane, it doesn't need high requirements to use the spells, I'll take care of it along the way. Character creation is one thing I haven't touched in a very long time, and I was thinking to create myself as a clayman. Before decided that I'm just too lazy to be creative, so I'm just gonna okay, that's good enough. Let's play the game now. Jumping to Limgrave, and the first couple things to do is to get Torrent and Spirit Calling Bell from Rani. I'm not gonna use Summon, but I need that to get certain items later on. The first spell is Oracular Bubbles, located in Siofra River. Luckily for me, this spell is easy to get because there are a bunch of spells locked behind story progressions, and I'm not even good at using glitches. But to get this spell, it requires me to kill a Teardrop Scarab. Compared to bare hands, obviously the Staff Bong will deal more damage in general. This will take a while for sure. It has the same feeling when killing the giant dragon in Caelid though. But anyway, after almost 5 minutes, I managed to kill it and get the spell. While still in the location, I also get the Marika Scar Seal to boost my stats by 3 points. I could get the other spell at the moment, but I misread the location and I thought I'd only be able to get the Great Oracular Bubble after defeating Radahn, so I went to grind some roots instead. After leveling up for a bit, I think this should be on the bare minimum to beat Margit. Well, let's see how it works. Okay, so the spell didn't deal much damage, but I think if I'm patient enough, I can take him down. Casting speed is slow as ever, and I'm having trouble to maintain the range. Short range can deal more damage since all the bubbles will hit him directly, but huge risk of getting hit. Medium range is the most effective way, but Margit has a pretty good range of attacks, so I'm not safe either. I should rethink my strats. I collected more golden seeds and sacred tears because I realized I will get hit anyway, so I might as well counter that by healing. After that, I went back on farming some runes because I think I need to power up my intelligence so the spell can deal significant damage to Margit. Also got the Meteorite Staff for a better staff. It's actually for gravity spells, but for early game weapons, it's a better staff compared to the others. Alright, so now I deal more damage than before, but my previous concerns are still there. Margit isn't very aggressive if I stand afar from him, but that doesn't mean I'm safe since he can throw some holy knives like darts in the arcade. I thought medium range was the best way to cast a spell because all the bubbles has higher chance to hit him, but again, I prefer not to get hit, so I'll go with long range instead. So Margit can casually walk around if I didn't do anything. As soon as I cast the spell, he will run towards me. I can use that as an advantage to let him hit my bubbles. Charge attacks is not recommended. It only took a couple milliseconds, but it's still impactful when fighting bosses like this. I definitely died multiple times and it really feels like I'm fighting Margit for the first time. Feels really nostalgic, eh? But not in a good way. I'm joking, I'm still having fun though, because it only took me a couple times before I finally beat him. That's my experience of Margit, and I'm going to make sure everything goes smoothly from now on. I traveled to Liurnia and went straight to the academy. Since I'm going full magic this time, there are some stuffs I need to get from this place. Carrion armor. I'm not sure if I will wear the full set because the armor from Round Table Hold is pretty equal to the Carrion armor, so I'm only wearing some pieces of it that has better stats than the other. Picking the Graven School Talisman to boost the potency of sorcery so the bubbles can deal more damage. I need to beat Red Wolf so I can get the Radagon's icon, but honestly the fight was a bit difficult for me, so I left it for now. The only option for now is visiting Stormveil. I kinda feel restricted by the game. At least, I have to get 1 Great Runes to get stronger, so I went for Godric's Head. Yo, I'll tell you what, this spell is for Godric, man. My guy got his ass clapped so hard. Oh, oopsie, I guess. Well, it's actually the same method I use against Margit, but Godric medium range suits my playstyle more. He's not fast, and he only has 1 range attack on his first phase. Well, okay, maybe he's a bit fast when he's charging towards me with his axe, but it's very easy to dodge. It's more running than rolling when fighting him. Moving to second phase, as usual, the only intimidating attack is the Fire Breath. A little problem for me, because this spell is effective on medium range, Godric now has more options of range moves. Usually I can just get close to him most of the time, but because of the slow casting time, I cannot do that. Well, maybe I can do that once in a while, if he used the rolling move, but other than that, I mostly can't. The bubbles spread wider over time, so I don't really have to predict where they will go as long as the boss keep running towards them. After beating Godric and claim the Great Rune, I can progress through the story and be able to complete various quests. The quest requires me to encounter some Tarnished model NPC like Magnus and Vike. This is an opportunity for me to get used with the spells so I can beat Gideon in the future. Yeah, this is surely not going well. Try it with Magnus first. I'm just weak against aggressive player, especially with slow spells. Same case with Vike. Man, look how bad I am at PvP, bro. But at the end, I have access to Mogwin Dynasty, and after looking up on YouTube, apparently there is this rune farming method that I didn't know. By far, this is the most effective way and less time consuming. It's Mogwin time! All the runes got mocked.
Oh my god!
Jumping back to Raya Lucaria. This time I have to beat Red Wolf. I could say it's one of the hard fights I had. Maybe not as crazy as the Spectral Lance, but this one still frustrates me a bit. There are a couple of visible openings with Red Wolf, but the problem for me is how the casting time can match the timing. It took me a while until I successfully followed his pattern. Right after I cast a spell, he usually moves aside or start casting the Clean Blade. It's either one of those, but if I'm lucky enough, he will go straight to me, which what I want. His jumping sword attacks is the safest moment to cast a bubble. It's a guaranteed hit and deal most of the damage. And after multiple tries, I finally beat him. I don't really have to go for Renala now since I'm here for some stuffs. Radagon's icon will increase casting speed. I definitely need this talisman since the beginning because I couldn't stand slow attacks. It always feels off to me. Also got the Glintstone crown as well at the edge of the cliff. I should have get the Twin Sage instead, but I'll come back to it later. It's time to acquire another great rune, and of course I pick Radahn since Rennala has 80% resistance to magic, so I choose the easier way instead. I'm ready for the festival, so I head over to Redmane's castle, talk to Jaren, skip that cutscenes because I watch that too often, and here we are. Remember when I said I choose the easier way compared to Rennala? Yeah, this is no different actually. To be fair, the spell damage was a bit underwhelming, but it can be easily overcome by bringing more flask. The problem is, I couldn't see any specific opening to cast the spell. I tried casting from long range to see if Radahn will come to me, and yeah, it kinda worked, but sometimes it didn't work. Honestly speaking, the fight was too difficult for me, so I decided to leave. I wouldn't say the problem is on the damage specifically, but that's what I thought at the moment. Rather than getting some runes, I think it's better to upgrade my staff. I lit up all the tower in Celia town of sorcery to open the seal. I'm planning to get Lusat's stuff, but in order to do so I have to beat the Nox duo. Basically the Walmart version of Godskin duo. Well, guess what? I never had any problem with these kind of enemies, but holy crap, I sure have this time. So, there are two of them. One with a mace, the other using a whip. These enemies are really good at dodging, but there is a twist in that. The one with the whip is actually slower and he's not dodging very often. I can land a couple hits just by maintaining my distance with him, but I can land some more if I sacrifice a bit of my health. The whip does a little damage to me, and it didn't break my poise as well. That's why it's worth to just sacrifice my health if needed. The other guy, I don't know man, I'll figure it later on, but my main priority is just to kill the whip one. I still died a lot trying to manage both of them at the same time. They don't really attack at the same time like Godskin duo, but it can be annoying at times when they attack simultaneously. It can happen though. After a while I finally killed the sorceress, and now it's time for the mace one, or the monk, whatever you want to call it. So this guy is very tricky. Right after I cast the spell, he will dodge right away, so there is not a chance I can hit him in this condition. But I found an interesting way to beat him. First method. I can corner him so he can barely dodge the bubbles, but doing this also very risky because he can easily attack me as well. He can also move away from the corner and we're back on square one. Second method, which is the most effective way, by bonking him all the way until it breaks his stance. Yeah, surprisingly it does break his stance, and that's the moment I have to cast the bubble. That's the solution. With that, I finally beat these irrelevant bosses and I got Lusat's staff as the reward. So, I upgraded the staff for a bit and went back to Radahn again. Okay, this time, the damage is more satisfying than before. With this, I just have to keep going impatiently. First phase, I can just cast the spell and run away. Radahn will come at me no matter what. Distancing myself with him is the most effective way so far, but it's not guaranteed that all my bubbles will hit him. Sometimes I was just too far from him and the bubbles couldn't reach him. After taking a quarter of his health, Radahn will use his gravity magic. This was a bit tough, since he has more movesets that makes him stand his ground rather than just charge towards me like before. Because I realized how hard it is to keep going like this, and his second phase is just gravity magic most of the time, I think I have to use my ultimate move, by drowning him in the ocean. I never cheesed Radahn this way before, because for some reason it never worked for me. But I watched a YouTube video and I'll make sure I'll drown him for real this time. Okay, so starting off again, I let my bubbles did half of his health, and yeah, here we are. There we go. My first time ever cheesing Radahn, and it went well. Radahn is now dead and I have access to Nokron. The only reason I want to get to Nokron is because I thought the Great Oracular Bubble can only be acquired from Nokron through the Ancestral Woods. But I was wrong. It's the same location as Marika's Scar Seal, that means I could get the spell before fighting any of the bosses. But that's okay though. At the end of the day, I got the spell and everyone is happy. Except for this clayman that wants to stop me from killing this character. Reaching Lindell and I have to face the draconic tree sentinel. I'm just gonna straight up saying that this is impossible. I don't think these two spells can beat tree sentinel on foot. Unless if I do this one method. Hit and run, that's right, this method always works, so what I need to do is cast the spell once and then run away. So this time I completely use the Great Oracular Bubble all the way through because it deals more damage in general. After a hit, I have to run away because there is no way I can land another in this situation. This actually took me a long time to deplete his health. The damage itself is okay, but not that significant, so I understand it will take some time. Sure, this might be the easiest way to kill him, but I also need to be careful and take this to my notes. I cannot cast the bubble from point blank range because the tree sentinel could land a sudden attack if I was too close. Also, I have to prepare my torrent right away or else this will happen. But that's fine, at least I know the precaution for this fight. The range I create when casting the bubble was actually very useful to buy me some time for summoning torrent. Alright, this is it. I think I'll beat this guy in no time. One hit and then run away. I almost got him. One more hit and we're done. But then, this happened. Bruh. Yeah, that's right. That's a big F you right to my face. I only brought a couple flasks and I already used all of them, so there is no way I can summon torrent this time. To make things worse, that area can only be accessed by using this jumping spot, and that means I have to restart the whole fight all over again. I got no choice, so here we go again. And I finally beat him, for real this time. After that long ass fight, I finally inside the capital city of Lindell, and I'm making my way to face Godfrey. Alright, so this is the battle with Godfrey. It's exactly what I expected. Not a crazy fight or anything, but I was forcing myself to use the Great Oracular Bubble the whole time. I like this fight in general, because Godfrey tends to move forward every time. Whenever I finish casting the spell, he will charge to my face right away. His pattern is very clear. This spell is far slower than the Oracle Bubbles, so I get hit pretty often. But the range of this spell is quite far, so I can actually avoid getting hit if I want to. But for the real Godfrey, I'll play safe and I use the Oracle Bubbles instead. Well, that's if I ever made it that far, of course. I have 4 talisman slots now, and I currently have Radagon's Icon and Graven School Talisman equipped. I need to get the rest of them to complete my build to fight Morgoth. So I just read on Wiki that Azure Greenstone Staff actually reduced the casting time while consuming more FP. I should have got this one rather than Lusat's stuff, honestly. I know Lusat has higher damage, but this time anything to reduce the casting time, I'll take it. Went back to the academy and apparently it was located at the same location where I get the second Greenstone key for Thops. I also got the Twin Sedge Crown, but I didn't use it now since I don't want to reduce my stamina. Going for this tower to get the Arrows Reach Talisman as well. It will increase the range of arrows and bolts, and for some reason this also works with Great Oracular Bubble. Got a bunch of runes in my pocket, so I might as well buy Radagon's armor. For my last talisman slot, I'm planning to get the Stargazer Heirloom to boost my intelligence even more. But in order to do so, I have to get through Ranni's quest. It's not gonna be a long process since I beat Radagon already, but I still have to go to Carrier Manor to fight Loretta. Alright, so Loretta. Just imagine a tree sentinel with magics. I have to get used to her moves as usual. I might have a little disadvantage in this fight since Loretta is pretty fast and she can dodge my bubbles by sidestepping. Shooting her at medium range is the best way to do it, but I cannot do it too often since her movesets are pretty wide in my opinion. The bubbles hit her pretty hard, but it's also quite hard for all the bubbles to hit her, if that makes sense. One of her openings is pretty wide, that's when she does the Loretta Slash. I can make a guaranteed hit once, but she doesn't pull that move really often. I met Ranni and continued her quest for a bit until I reached Nokron and have to fight the Mimic Tier. Well, I'm kinda grateful for the slow acceleration of this spell. It's really useful for enemies that dodge a lot. After beating the Mimic Tier, dive deep to get the Finger Slayer Blade and get back to Ranni. I now have access to Divine Tower Liurni. Also over there, got the Stargazer Heirloom to boost my intelligence by 5, which is a lot. So I think I'm ready to fight Morgoth. I got to test both of the spells to see which one works better. First try I can say the Great Oracular Bubble didn't work at all, or maybe I just used it the wrong way. But I tried my best. It's not the right spell for Morgoth. He dodges a lot. It would be nice for me to have a fast casting sorcery, and that's why Oracle Bubbles should be the superior choice this time. With Radagon's icon combined with Azure Glintstone Staff, my casting speed becomes more reasonable. I think I'll use the same method as Verdun, which is taking advantage of distance. Because Morgoth has crazy range despite being not as big as Verdun. Morgoth is very tricky when it comes to his openings, and using spells like this actually strikes him in different way. Because I use melee weapons most of the times, I didn't expect to attack him on weird moments actually. On his second phase, things are far easier. Yes, it is easier to attack him on second phase, can you imagine? He always has this big window after coated his sword with blood, and that's when I cast the bubbles. Other than that, I can still land a couple hits, but that one over there is the best moment to attack him. I feel like the more aggressive he is, the more opportunity I can get. I tried to experiment for a bit with the charge spells, but it's not worth it. So there we go. I took him down and claimed the W. Since I'm going after tougher bosses from now on, I need to upgrade my staff to +9 by getting all the Somber Stones I can get. It's very convenient because the rest of the stones are easy to get. Remember when I said I need to use summons for a specific item? This is the moment. So by reuniting both of the jellyfishes, I can get the primal glintstone blade. It reduces FP consumptions but also took away maximum HP. Very useful to compensate the FP consumption. Next boss is Fire Giant, and I'm a little concerned about this. Just a little. As you know, I can only damage him on his left leg, and I'm using Oracle Bubble all the way through. First phase wasn't really a problem, but I wouldn't say it's practical as well. He does move his legs a lot, and it really prevents me to land more damage to him. The opposite way from Morgoth and Verdun, I have to be very close in order to damage him. Around 1mm close that I could kiss his feet if I want to. Charge spells are not recommended because apparently Fire Giant move a bit faster compared to the charge casting speed. I don't know why this battle took me around 1 hour to beat him, because I couldn't see the problem besides the slow casting speed. Not gonna lie, I died a lot both on his first phase and his second phase as well. But I think I died more on his second phase, because fire equals bad, bro. He negates most of my damage, and because the safest place is his crotch, I have to tag alongside with him whenever he rolls away. Just to be clear, I don't bring the Flame Drake talisman, so one hit by the fire means I'm dead. And that's the case most of the time. Second phase took me forever, but there isn't any other way. I took the least risky approach every time, and with that I was able to beat the fire giant.
Bruh.
So we got to burn the Erdtree, arriving at Verum Azula, and make my way to fight the worst boss of all time, the Foreskin duo. Just like before, I'm not using sleep pods this time. All I can say that they living up their title as the most bullshit boss in the game. They hit hard. Obviously I'm dead right away if I got more than 2 hits from them. And both of them can throw black flame that depleted my HP in short periods of time. My only opportunity to win this is by killing the fat one. That's my only option, but my issue here isn't about dodging their attacks. I mean, yeah, most of the time I died because of the donut roll, but their inconsistent chemistry is the most dangerous aspect in this fight. I'm using oracular bubbles to bait the fat one since he's more aggressive in that sense. I realize it's better to leave the skinny one untouched because his second phase is more annoying than the fat one. Even though the fat one deals more damage on second phase, but at least I can use those pillars to stuck him, and I can use the great oracular bubbles as well to damage him even more. Yeah, honestly it's really hard to lock him on the pillar and I had to pay the price most of the time. This is by far the longest fight I had and I still couldn't beat them. But I feel like this is totally possible. I just have to tweak my stats a little bit, so you know what? It's Mogwin time! Okay, after a while, at level 131, I have 69 intelligence, plus 8 more from Glintstone Crown and Stargazer Heirloom. The other stats, I'm not really invest that much as long as I have a decent HP and stamina. I think we're good. Well, I can say my damage is more impactful this time, but it's still hard enough to avoid the donut roll. I think that's the only trouble I have to overcome for now. This definitely took me another hour to finally get used to every attack they throw at me. Casting speed is still the core of the problem, but I can manage that at most of the circumstances. The thing is, I have to kill the fat one 3 times in the whole battle. Sometimes my brain is just too tired to keep up with them, but yeah, and I still take the W. Yeah, what an agonizing battle if I'm being honest. Now that we can chill for a bit, let's fight Malekith. I'll tell you what, no matter how difficult Malekith is gonna be, it's not gonna be as painful as Godskin Duo. 100%. When fighting Malekith, I would use the same method as Godfrey. He will charge towards me most of the time. I don't know how to explain this, but I can see when he's gonna run to me or he's gonna throw some rocks. I would say the window gap is a bit narrow when I cast a spell, because if I do it too slow or too fast, I'll get hit at least once. But it doesn't really matter in my opinion, since I can sacrifice some of my HP as long as I reach his second phase afterwards. Now, as usual, second phase Malekith is just like driving a car or riding a bike. Once you learn how to do it, it will be in your mind forever. I don't know if that makes sense though, but anyway, yeah. As usual, the only safe opening is right after he did the slicing attacks. When he's not doing anything, I could bait him by casting the bubbles once, and usually he'll move sideways and apparently got hit by the bubbles. It's really refreshing to have a fun fight, and yeah, I beat Malekith. So before fighting Gideon, I might need something to enhance those bubbles. So I went back to Liurnia to kill the Erdtree avatar and acquired the magic shrouding tier. This will boost my magic damage and also got the Crimson Hole tier for magic protection. Gideon uses powerful spells, and I learned from my previous encounter with Vyke and Mongrum, I think using Great Oracular Bubble might be the best decision I made. I'm still thankful for the slow acceleration that actually prevents them from dodging. And for the first time in forever, I beat Gideon first try. Let's go! We're almost there. I can feel it. Okay, so I fought Godfrey before. I mean the golden version. So at least on his first phase, it should be easy. Right, so one death is required to win this apparently. But it's okay. As I said before, this time I have to use the Oracle Bubbles instead to win this. Fast casting speed is preferable to me compared to dealing massive damage. Godfrey still has the same pattern as before. Being aggressive and easily baited are the positive sides of him, just like he got baited by the Queen. I miss a few of the moments where I can actually cast the Great Bubble. Yeah, now when I rewatch my footage, the ground rupture is actually big enough opening to cast a Great Bubble. But Oracle Bubbles did the job pretty well, so it doesn't matter. For his second phase, a little different playstyle, but not that noticeable. Alright, so this time, there isn't a single chance for me to cast a Great Oracular Bubble, so I have to use the Oracle Bubbles all the way. The safest opening is a ground rupture as well, but I see other openings like the jump attacks or grab attacks if I want to take the risk. Well, maybe not grab attacks, his recovery time is faster than mine. I was too scared to pull it off. Godfrey is now dead and we only have one more obstacle left. But before going against Radagon, I want to go back and defeat Renala. With all the magic resistance she has, I think this is the right time to fight her, so I don't have to concern about dealing so little damage to her. Mongrum, poof, gone in an instant. Alright, so for the scholars, I want to do this as fast as I can, so bonking them is the way. With around 80 intelligence, the magic damage still wasn't that crazy, but that's okay because it's enough to beat her, I think. Second phase, I have to use the Great Bubble because of the range. It's kinda sucked that the moon actually ate all my bubbles, so I have to find a better timing to do so. I tanked some of her attack because I was too greedy, and with high levels, I don't think she could smack me in less than 3 hits. Her summons wasn't really a problem, and even after summoning something, I still have a couple seconds to cast, and so it's totally not that bad. Finally, I took her down, and now, let's jump for the last fight. Radagon! Oh, I'll let you guys know. Godskin Duo took me like 2 hours to beat, but Radagon and Elden Beast are the longest fight I had in this run. It's around 4 hours in total, I think. I don't remember how many deaths I experienced, but Radagon is just too difficult for me. I see his pattern, I can see that, and following them wasn't so bad either. But in order to deal significant damage to him, I have to cast the bubbles in point blank range, which probably the same method when using melee weapons. But in my opinion, Radagon and Elden Beast has a trait. They get super annoying the longer you fight them. So I have to make sure I take care of them before they reach that phase, which is not happening in this case. I beat Radagon a few times but got bodied by Elden Beast. Therefore, I put down my mouse and keyboards and it's more it's very cringe at this point. But for real though, I did grind a bit more, put some points on endurance so I have enough equip load to wear Lionel's armor, and also switch to Twin Sage Crown. Dude, how hard it is to pronounce that thing. I still died multiple times, but I changed some of my loadouts. I bring 6 Crimson Flasks and 4 Cerulean Flasks. I realized I brought too many Cerulean Flasks before, and if my prediction was right, I only need 1 flask for Radagon and 3 for Elden Beast. For Radagon, I also bong him sometimes to prevent him from teleporting. It's not always like that, but I'll put my tinfoil hat on his thing. Every time I bong him, he usually counter that by physical attack, so it will make it easy for me to dodge. This is Radagon's last health bar. I was thinking I could save some FP, so I tried to bong him multiple times to kill him, and yeah, as you can see, it didn't work, so I'll just use the bubble instead. Okay, Elden Beast. I learned my lesson before. It should be the last fight. I think the best time to attack him is when he's fully using his sword. Oh wait, I was talking about his melee attacks, by the way, not the holy one. I hate all of his holy attacks. I was panicked whenever he does the rapid slam and usually got hit once by it, but not this time. Yeah, this time I was saved by luck itself. And I still have a lot of flasks to refill my health, and after going through this boss for a couple minutes, I finally beat him. Yeah, I beat Elden Ring with only Claymen Sorceries. Hooray! Give it a round of applause, guys. Shit, I really need some sleep. My honest thought, I don't think I'll make it though. I was about to give up on Radagon. There are some mistakes I did in this run. It could have been better, but I had fun nonetheless, despite being suck at it. I think this is one of the best run I've ever did, and by watching this, I hope you guys having fun as well. Let me know if I missed something in the comments down below. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. We almost reached 10k subs, by the way. As always guys, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
An age of fracture.